my goodness! Holy sh!
Okay, it's me and AA are on here. We're a little over an hour into the trip. So far we are cold. This thing puts out a lot of heat, but once you get going down the road, it is drafty. We got, we're making some adjustments here. Finding all the draft. And the vehicle, it's having some carburetor problems, but I'm hoping it's not actually a carburetor, but I think it's the, I don't know what the technical term of it is, where the bottom of the intake where the carburetor dumps, it creates a cold spot. And on this intake, you could see originally it had a spot where it would bolt to the exhaust manifold to keep that spot heated up. As cold as it is this morning, we stopped a little while ago, and I could put my hand in there, and it was just icy cold. So we're hoping as the weather warms up, it'll come out of that, but maybe not. We'll find out. We're going to press on. Anything you'd like to report?
I'm good. Other than it's just a little cold in here, but so far everything seems to be working out okay. So for what it is.
We're not making as good a time as we'd hoped. We're going to have to skip the gun show down to Poplar Bluff, because there's no way. I was kind of doubting we were going to make that anyway, even without trouble. But we might be able to hit the one in Kirksville. Might as well. We might want to get out of this truck for a while.
Yeah.
Go inside and stay warm like a normal person. Just hit a hell of a stretch of road back there, about 6 or 7 miles of it. Man, I thought I was going to shake the truck apart. Just rough road, and I suppose just the wrong combination of wheelbase. It was terrible. So we pulled all the mouse dust out to stuff our own nesting material in. We got a couple Taco Bell bags here. Had to take them out of the trash. Oh, it's warm in here right now.
I know. Nothing goes to waste but dust.
Alright, we're going to hit the road. Had to backtrack and come back and look at this Bronco. There was some debate among us whether the price said $15,000 or $1,500. Hey, did you see the little truck over there? Oh, yeah. I'm not out on the road, am I? I think it says $1,500 on it. No, it says 4,500. Yeah. Yeah. So we just stopped here in Kirksville because we were passing right by the place at a gun show. Totally pathetic. Totally pathetic. Waste of time and money. Hope it's not always like that. Did get some more paper towels though, so there's always that. That wasn't worth the $10 though. Alright, we're leaving Kirksville now. We're 117 miles into our journey. Just left the gun show, if you want to call it a gun show. What are you doing over there? He was laughing at me when I couldn't find third gear.
I'm trying to find race gear.
This transmission of this truck is the worst truck 4-speed I've ever driven. Maybe I've just had a practice of driving them.
I don't know.
We're pretty well getting the headliner cap stuffed full of trash. Garbage, paper towels, whatever we could find. You got your seatbelt on? Come on, you did it.
There we go.
It's safe now. Junkyard. What was that red car? That was a Javelin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Got a high moment of the trip here, folks. We actually passed somebody. I didn't record it, so I can't prove it. We just gotta take our word for it.
See the sign.
How's that seat treating you?
It's not comfortable on the driver's side. It's a bit wore out, and you just kind of like sink into it. And it's like, it's just not that great. Other than that,
Well, we're 240 miles into the trip. It's noon. Maybe we'll throw some fuel in it. We'll take a look at that fuel filter, see how that's doing. Aaron's been herding it along at 70 miles an hour, he tells me. So it ain't too bad. Got some in one side. The problem with the intake seems to have gone away now that the outside temperatures came up, so that's great news. So everything's looking good under here. All the fluids are good, no leaks. Only two problems I'm seeing is the radiator hose. It's not building pressure, and yeah, there's no leaks, so I'm assuming it's this crusty old cap's not sealing up and let it build pressure. And perhaps the motor mount has either broken or is in the process of breaking. That might be a problem once we get the car on the trailer. Might have to find a way to chain that down. But other than that, she's humming right along, doing great. Temperature's warming up out, so it's not quite so miserable in the cab, and we got a lot of the drafts cut down to a minimum, so we're gonna herd on down the road some more.
probably can pop in here.
I need you to do me a favor and demonstrate that seat belt.
You take it and you reach it out.
Let's see, notice folks, this is not actually a seat belt. It's an old belt.
And you pull it over and you hope that it stays.
It's merely an illusion. And it's the same on the driver's side too. Now when I started out with this truck, there were actually lap belts, at least, but not anymore because the floor was so rotten they pulled out when we were working on it. So all we have are these to go with. It might keep us from getting pulled over, give the illusion that we're wearing belts. We are only a few short miles away from getting the Comet. We decided to skip on the, what is it, Poplar Valley? I don't know. The gun show. We knew we weren't going to get there in time anyway. Even if we would have got there in time, they would have been closing down before we could have seen it all. So we just decided to skip that, and that's probably going to take probably 200 miles off our trip. But we're going to get the car picked up tonight and head on over to Cape Girardeau and get a room there, so we'll be ready to hit the swap meet in the morning. Truck's doing great. Not only did the day warming up cure the issue with the cold intake, it actually has more power now. All right, folks, the job is done. It's loaded up. I'm gonna go get us a motel room for the night and hit the swap meet bright and early. Ain't she a badass looking car? We'll have to excuse the gasser look. Not really my thing, but yeah. And there's another one in the building I'll be coming back for later. It's in even better shape than this. Sure, it's a little rough, but try to find any of these that aren't, that are affordable. This is just my style. I'm not building show cars. Look at him go! Hey, don't hit that truck! So we made it to the motel. Fancy one too. Aaron put us up in a nice fancy room. I guess that means I'm his bitch for the night. Swap meet tomorrow morning. Hopefully we have a problem getting everything on the back of the truck that we buy. Like a 58 Edsel front clip. Alright, we're up bright and early. Stopped at the bank here. Aaron's over there at the money machine getting some more cash because we're going to the swap meet. The car still looks just as awesome in the morning. '33 Ford truck. Very solid. Looks like a Volkswagen. You know, looks like about it, it's what it is. Pretty clever.
Yeah. And look, Uncle Guy, I think there's a voice in it. So you'll be okay. One for me, one for you.
Sorry. No problem. Starting to pick up out here. This was a pretty good sized swap meet. I don't think it's big enough that it would warrant me driving down here just for it again, but not too shabby. Stretches all the way around there. Comes up, you can't see it, but runs through the other side of this building as well. Okay, here's what I got at the swap meet. Got me an Edelbrock AVS2 650. Came with a rebuild kit and a tuning kit for $100 and a pair of tires for a future vehicle build. Missed out on a nice set of seats, brand new. Went to get them, and as soon as I got up there, another guy was making a deal on them. Ain't that typical? And then there was a 460 intake. I might have, well, yeah, I would have bought it on the way out, but it was gone as well. Such is life. What'd you get, AA, Ron?
I got a 121 Motocraft Carburetor.
121.
Yeah.
2150.
Yep.
Oh, 121 Venturi. That's
yeah,
right.
121 Venturi. It's a 2150, so it's the supposedly the variable Venturi, which is.
I don't think that's the case, but
that's what they call them.
I've never heard it called that.
Yeah, if you look them up.
No, that's wrong. The variable Venturi, if I'm not mistaken, was some weird-ass carburetor they used in the 80s. It was kind of electronically controlled.
You're right.
It had like slides in it or something.
You're right. They're not. Yeah.
Because yeah, there's no way that
variable.
Yeah, the Venturis are not variable in the 2150, but
there's another term for them. I don't know. It's the newer style Motocraft 2-barrel. That's all I know.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
You missed out on the winch, just like I missed out on the seats, and
and it was too cheap to buy the tires.
You can still go get them.
I might go back.
Right now we're waiting on the guy who got the Comet from. He's here at the swap meet. He's going to write me out a bill of sale and get me the title to the other Comet that we're going to go back for later this summer. We're going to try to get it running and drive it home.
Yes, absolutely.
We looked it over yesterday. The engine's free. It's going to need a lot of brake work. But yeah, we'll see how that works out.
Race for paints?
Lawnmower, not the dirt bike.
Sweet truck. Damn, that was clean.
I know.
Surprise, surprise, we bought more shit. While waiting for the guys to bring us the title and bill of sale, we decided to go and wander around and more. And somehow Aaron, bad influence he is, talked me into buying this Cub Cadet, and he bought this mini bike for his son. So we're really going to put the old truck to the test. Right now we got to go get gas and I got to poop. Okay folks, first gas stop on our trip home. Yesterday the truck didn't seem to mind the extra weight of the car, but it's not liking the extra weight of that lawnmower and dirt bike in there. You can feel the difference in the power loss. Or maybe we're fighting the wind. I'm sure that's a factor too. The wind's starting to pick up today. It'd be quite the adventure getting home with all this extra weight on the truck and fighting the wind. Every time we weren't looking, the guy that we got the lawnmower from kept loading us down with more stuff. These huge rivets, these tie-down reels, big threaded rod. It looks like that engine mount's looking a little worse than it was yesterday. Hopefully that won't be a problem. Man, I really pooped in there. That's got to help the performance, me getting rid of all that shit. The worst thing was, though, was one of those automatic flushers, so I didn't get to turn around in time to admire my handiwork. Did you hate that? So I was like, man, this is going to be a mountain to turn in there.
You were in there at least a good 35.
It was quite refreshing.
I fell asleep for a minute.
I think I might have too.
I don't know. I was like, man, I'm going to go check on him. Like, okay?
It's not his first time. He's pooped many times before. Look at all the Fords. gonna make it?
Go, baby, go!
Can the 300 do it?
I think we're gonna make it.
I'd say it didn't.
Yep. She dropped to 40.
Nah, that was nothing. I got down to 30 last night.
Yeah. Third or fourth gear, you were down to 30.
Yeah.
So I'd say it did pretty good.
On our way home, we've been traveling for, I don't know, maybe I'm guessing about 3 hours now. Everything seems okay. Truck's grunting along. Running a little warmer, but not hot by any means. Probably a good 3.5 hours away from where we're planning to stop to eat dinner in Kirksville. And motor mount's holding up. Fuel filter's not plugged. All the fluids are good. Heading on down the road. Where are we at, Aaron?
I don't remember the name of this town. Not,
Jefferson City, I believe, isn't it?
no, this isn't Jefferson.
No, not Jefferson, but Jefferson City. Anyway, we're 4 hours from Osceola. I thought I noticed since we left the swap meet and got going, I was smelling a little bit of oil. It's starting to get a little bit of blow by here. And some sprayed on the hood there. Doesn't seem to be very much because it's checked the oil, still great. Radiator finally, I wouldn't say it overheated, but yeah, the radiator cap ain't sealing very well anyway.
Yeah, we're essentially in Jefferson City. Jefferson City's right over there.
So who was right and who was wrong?
Ron was right.
But other than that, the truck is plugging along like a champ.
Ron's working it like a dog.
Yeah. Downshift into third and pull those hells, just winding the hell out of it.
When you can get it into third.
Yeah, when I can get it into third. I'm doing better today, though. Had our first mechanical failure. We've got a headlight out. We hope it doesn't snowball into hell from there. I know you can't see much in the dark. We're about 2 hours from home now. We're in Kirksville, 8 o'clock p.m. It's time for some Coltons. Those of you that don't have Coltons in your area, it's kind of like Texas Roadhouse. All right, our bellies are full. We're headed hopefully in the final stretch of home, for me anyway. And Aaron's got to go. It's feeling cold enough out here that I'm betting the carburetor is going to start freezing up again. But even so, I'm sure we'll make it. Fuel level. Is there rust in it? Yes. I mean, you guys from southern and western states would just think this is horrible, but for a Midwest car, this is surprisingly solid. There's actually something to work with here. For the price that I paid for both of them, I'm not gonna mention the price. Not that I'm ashamed of it, but I've looked at other Comets in the past few years, and they wanted just as much or more than what I paid if I, divvied up the price for each one of these. And those Comets that I looked at were just awful. I mean, total rot boxes. The floors were gone. The subframes were rotted away. I'll get the other one home later this summer, spring or summer. Decide if I'm just going to try to take two and make one, or pick the best one and just have the other one as a backup for some sort of an old rat rod muscle car or what. I just don't know yet. This one obviously was a V8 car because of the 5-lug setup. Looks like was it a manual or automatic? Must have been a manual of some sort. But you can see where someone had cut a hole in the floor there for a floor shifter, but it looks like I don't know, it doesn't matter now, does it? But unfortunately someone had, at some point, already swiped the 9-inch out of it, stuck what looks like a Ranger rear end in there, just for a roller. But I guess that's okay. It's pretty easy to narrow up a Explorer 8.8 and put in these. I just love the lines of these cars. And like the truck, I don't know honestly what my end plan is for both of them. I just had to have them. I guess even if I never do anything with them, they're part of my collection now. Okay folks, it's the following Friday. Had a full week to think about the trip, think things over, and come up with some thoughts on it. Hey, Aaron's here too, in case he has anything to add. I feel like I need to owe you an apology over the short video because nothing really went wrong. We lost a headlight. The steering got a little sketchy there in the last few hours of the trip. It was very sketchy. That was about the only real excitement we had. As you saw, that Saturday morning we took off, it was really cold. The truck made plenty of heat, we just couldn't keep it in there. Went down the road, stopped at a gas station, stuffed paper towels up above the windshield, because that's where the draft valley was coming from, and it was, but yeah, you stuffed them in there and just moved around to the other sides of the roof, so we kept pulling over, just getting more paper towels, and in one case we stopped at didn't have any paper towels at, so we grabbed them Taco Bell bags out of the trash. we finally got the drafts fairly well plugged off, and the day started warming up. Yeah, it was tolerable after that. The engine ran great. Boy, credit to that 300. It wasn't a powerhouse. Boy, it just kept right on pulling. I think we both agreed that 4-speed was the worst 4-speed we'd ever driven.
Absolutely.
It really gave me fits Saturday afternoon. I'd come in somewhere into town or downshift on a hill into third, and I just couldn't find third, and I'd get frustrated. And finally, I'd lost so much momentum, I'd have to give up and go down to second and build back up from there. Didn't really have any trouble with it Saturday or Sunday. I'm just going to chalk it up to Saturday. By that afternoon, I was getting really tired, so we left right after I got off a full shift at work. So,
and of course, all the constructive criticism from your passenger.
Yeah, at least I gave you some amusement on that. It's too bad we didn't have one of those episodes videoed and we struggled to get it third. Yeah, I could have taped a lot more, but I felt like it was just, I didn't feel like editing through that much stuff. I figured we were just going to wait for the big breakdown to come and then film that, which the big breakdown never came. I was fully expecting brake issues with the way I half-assed the brakes, and yeah, just fine. Actually, I never had to get on the brakes that hard. I noticed you did on the way home one time there coming through town, coming up on an intersection. Yeah. How did they seem there?
There was all there. I mean, there was no issues or anything that felt out of normal. I mean, it actually braked really well for what it was. And it never felt like it hung up or stayed, locked in or anything like that. It just kept going, so.
Yeah, we never even had to top off any fluids, which is shocking because it looked to me like that power steering had been leaking for years before that and never needed topped off. I mean, there was a little bit of leak, but not enough that it needed any attention. The truck did great. What can I say other than that steering? Yeah, the steering I noticed in our last like 4 hours from home, he was driving, and I noticed he was having some trouble over there. He never said anything, but I noticed it. And we stopped to eat, and it was my turn to drive the final leg home, and oh my God. You couldn't, it seemed like any little bump would set it off, but you couldn't predict what bump would do it.
Yeah.
And it almost felt like the trailer was waggling around back there, but it wasn't. It was the front.
Just front. And it's not something you should have to get used to.
I kind of figured out I could, every time I'd see a bump coming, I'd kind of get ready for it. And then if it started happening, my best defense for it was I would just start jiggity-janking the wheel real quick. And maybe about after 6 or 7 of those, it would kind of keep it under control. Then you could kind of you keep jiggity-janking, but you kind of and make a little more one way or the other to get yourself settled back down into the road. And then you're good for a while until you saw the next bump coming.
Yeah, quick, small adjustments constantly. And you never had to worry about falling asleep behind the wheel.
No, not on the way home. Before Aaron got here today, I had the truck pulled here in the shop. I'll show you some of the video for that, but I had the phone underneath recording while I was above working the steering. It was the joint that was right off the pitman arm. Very, very sloppy. The rest of it was pretty decent, but that's where the problem was. For mileage, I didn't do any number crunching, but it seemed like that truck did pretty damn good, although it did have a big tank on it, so that can be kind of deceiving. I gotta say, I've never had a flatbed before. This might be an unpopular opinion with a lot of people, but I've always hated them, never wanted one, just because of the fact you have to tie every damn thing down you want to put on it. I don't have a thing against the looks of them. I think they look cool. I understand some people need them for the room. But yeah, I'd never want one for that. But I gotta admit, it was kind of nice working on the truck, all that flatbed space for a workbench. That was kind of makes up for it a little bit. There was some mention of it, I know there was some mention of it Saturday morning when we first started out. It was so cold here. It was like, I think I saw it was 12 degrees on the bank thermometer when I came through from leaving work. And once we got going, we'd get to an intersection and take off again, and it would have a stumble in it every time you'd shift gears to get the RPMs back up. And one time the throttle even stuck. I vaguely was aware of the concept of carb icing, but I had never experienced it, so I didn't truly understand it. As the day went on and it warmed up, it entirely went away, and the truck had more power. And what was it, Saturday night, it started doing it again, just lost power. It didn't stumble, throttle didn't stick. And Sunday night on the way home, same thing, started losing some power. But Sunday morning, I woke up in the motel, couldn't sleep, and I started doing a little research. And like I said, I was just only vaguely aware of the concept of carb icing. And for those of you that have never experienced it, I was always aware that it was more prevalent on engines that had inline engines that had a carburetor that hung off to the side. And what actually happens, according to my research, is the inside of the carburetor is actually building up frost and ice. I assumed that it was just some sort of a cold spot developing underneath the carburetor by the Venturi effect that was not letting the fuel vaporize properly. And no, that's not it at all. There's actually, even in the dead of winter here in Iowa, 12 degrees out, there is still a little bit of moisture in the air that can freeze inside the carburetor. As it freezes, it closes up your Venturi and you're not getting as much airflow. There's power loss, and you can even build up so much ice in there that it makes the throttle stick, which is exactly what happened once Saturday morning. And yeah, it was a little educational for me to find out what exactly does happen for carb icing.
Yeah, it was the first for me. And it was noticeably different. I mean, as far as you could tell when the power was there and when the power was disappearing, when the carb was starting to ice up.
Yeah.
It was just completely a big noticeable difference.
Yeah, every time, we'd stop to grab paper towels and stuff into the cab, and we get going again, the carb had warmed up and it was right back to normal.
Yeah.
And it was real eye-opener for me. After he took over driving in Kirksville, it was still really cold out. He drove for a couple hours, and then it was my turn to drive again. It was warm enough by then, the carb icing wasn't even happening anymore. It's like, wow, this thing's got power. What happened? It's just,
Like a night and day difference.
yeah, it's the way it should be. What's going to happen next with the truck? I don't know. It's kind of a shame to not keep using it, but it's so damn rusty. I've got pictures of the spring shackles and mounts, and they're really rusty. And sure, I could replace them, but you know, if the spring mounts and shackles are that rusty, then the frame around them is too. I kind of thought about seeing this summer if there was a tough truck race at a county fair within driving distance, take it, try to finish it off, but I don't really want the motor mount to break and beat the hell out of those headers. I can still use them on something else. I can use the engine transmission and something else. So there's good that came out of that. That engine is a solid runner.
More likely not the transmission, though.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you guys are such good friends.
I was learning to live with the transmission by the time. It's still the
I
worst.
just feel like it was getting better towards the end.
Or we were just
getting better used to it.
Yeah.
it was something.
Yeah, it might not have been a case of it being the worst 4-speed I've ever driven. It's just been a long time since I've driven one like that. I've gotten used to driving more modern 5-speeds and 6-speeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've kind of, for years, been kind of wanting to build a rat rod. That'd be a great engine for it. For some reason, I've always liked the look of a straight 6 engine in an open engine compartment in the rat rod. So there's the possibility for that. But I honestly don't think that the truck's going to be continuing on the road. It's just, we kind of pushed our luck as it was with that one trip. The rust is a lot worse after having driven it because it shook loose all those chips and stuff that we're kind of hiding the holes. But I did say take some pictures of the shackle mounts and whatnot, and I'll put those up here.
Was it worth it? Was it not worth it? Was it something we would do again? Not do again?
It was definitely an experience. The 3 weeks of hard work getting the thing ready, I guess that must have paid off for the relatively trouble-free trip, although it could just have easily went a different direction. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it again, but I'll think twice about it just because of all the time that I had in it. Doesn't matter what it is, something can always break down.
Oh yeah. Could have been a newer truck going outside that we could have taken, and it could have had its own set of issues. But
the beauty of that old truck is because it's old, barring a total catastrophic breakdown, we at least have a fighting chance of fixing an old simple truck like that. I guess that kind of sums up our thoughts. I want to thank Aaron for helping me out getting the truck going and making the trip with me. It's nice having someone else along to share the driving, and if we actually would have had mechanical trouble.
no, it was a lot of fun. I appreciated going, and I'd do it again. I mean, maybe definitely look at the steering a little more next time as far as that goes. It got to be sketchy towards the end, but we managed. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it was just because we're used to stuff like that. I don't know.
Used to driving piles.
Yeah. But it makes you appreciate that the old trucks can still do the same things that these trucks can do these days, just not as fast, but
We're as comfortable.
or as comfortable, but they'll still do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've proved that, and as many other people probably on the internet have proved, that you can still do it with an older truck. It's just going to take a little bit longer. It's not going to be as enjoyable, but you can enjoy it for the simple
it's
fact that,
enjoyable in a different kind of way.
right, I mean, it feels kind of neat to take something like that and travel as far as we did. I mean, we probably went a little over our heads on how far we went, but we did it, so.
Yeah, I've I'm sure you probably noticed it a time or two when we pull into a gas station. There was always, every time we stopped somewhere, there was always one or two people getting gas or something. They would stop and just, it wasn't just a quick glance, they were looking at it like this rust parade that just pulled into the...
No. If you don't like attention, I wouldn't recommend this. You will definitely get the attention, but no, it was fun. It was worth it.
All right, I guess that wraps it up, and I do want to thank Mike McCloney for donating the truck for me. Thanks, Mike. It was, thanks for all the work I put into it. Anyway, thanks, Mike, for the truck.